Transmitting to you from Old Heart Radio.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. This is another episode of Coffee and Contemplation. I'm your host, Old Heart, aka Jared, aka Don't Give a Fuck. You can call me what you want. You can call me what you will. It'll bounce right off of me because I don't care. Either way. So, like I said earlier, Coffee and Contemplation, name of the podcast. Thanks for listening. If you are not, well, then you're probably not hearing this either way. Hope everybody's ready to ripen up their coconut, and I hope you're having a good day. Hope you have a cup of coffee and all that good shit. So, it's nice to aerate that coffee. Aerate. Gotta learn how to say that right. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about the Doom Patrol. So the Doom Patrol is a comic book group, a fictional superhero group, and slash also the title of a comic book series. Named after the group? I think so. But don't quote me on it. Either way, so Doom Patrol recently has been made into like a live-action television show with motherfucking Brendan Fraser in it, so shout-outs there. It's also been a fairly successful comic book for a while. I mean, it's definitely not like, you know, one of the big Marvel names. It's not one of the big DC, you know, 3. It's been there. And that's success, right? That's like the name. That's like the podcast here. That's like Old Heart Radio, right? We measure success in how long we've been here, not readership or viewership or listenership. Either way, so Doom Patrol started out in, I believe, 1963 was the first Doom Patrol. Yes, it started out as a DC title, My Greatest Adventure, and that was in, 1963. It was originally kind of the original lineup included Elastigirl, an automaton, which was later changed to Robot Man, who subsequently became Robot Man. Is such a fucking interesting character to me, but Robot Man is the only character to be in all iterations of the Doom Patrol. Just a shout out there. And so Arnold Drake was the original writer. He was tasked with creating a team that just kind of was different. And Doom Patrol is pretty different. So like one of the things I like about Doom Patrol is that they are definitely I don't want to call them misfits because that'd really be playing into that whole X-Men thing. So they're people who just don't really like their powers. They don't really want their powers. They make their powers make them bigger freaks than they already were. Or maybe that's harsh. And I'm not gonna, I'm not trying to ostracize, calling people freaks. I'm just saying, like, that's what they were fucking painted as, okay? Members of the Doom Patrol often had their own fucking issues, and they quarreled amongst themselves, and they had to deal with personal problems, which for DC Comics at the time, which Doom Patrol is a DC Comics property, for DC Comics, that wasn't really a prevalent thing. There weren't, like, Marvel Comics, I mean, they got that down, right? Spider-Man's over there fucking in the middle of his teenage years. The X-Men are dealing with issues, the fucking, like, that's a whole Marvel thing. So bringing that over to DC was a little strange, and DC was still kind of a different world. It was a different kind of comic world. Not so far apart yet, but it was out of character for a DC property to see that much kind of like inner turmoil of these characters. The Doom Patrol's rogue gallery had some really strange elements to it. There's like the immortality seeking General Immortus. They had a villain named it was a shapeshifter named the Animal Vegetable Mineral Man, and of course the Brotherhood of Evil. There's also individual characters like Monsieur Mala the Gorilla and Madame Rogue. Just strange villains. So I got kind of interested in Doom Patrol because I recently picked up book 1 of Grant Morrison's run on Doom Patrol. Grant Morrison is easily one of the best comic book writers of any generation, in my opinion. But he's a fantastic visionary, and I have always wanted to try and get into Doom Patrol, and I thought, like, what better way to shout outs to anybody listening out there. All you listeners are fucking great. Find us on Old Heart Radio on Instagram, Spotify, iTunes, all that shit. Spread the good word. We're on Twitter at Old Heart in Space. Shout outs to Mariah. Shout outs to Casey. Shout outs to Lucas, my co-host. Shout outs to anybody that listens. Shout outs to Avi. Shout outs to whoever was fucking listening in Chile the other week. Shout outs to you. Shout outs to any of our international listeners. Kudos for being there, because we're here. Either way, the shout out section's done. We are over with the shout outs today. Moving the fuck on. So anyway, like I said, I picked up Grant Morrison's run. I grabbed the trade paperback, the Doom Patrol. I think it's just volume 1, but it collects. It collects issues 19 through 34 of Grant Morrison's run. When I was picking it up down at Danger Room Comics in Olympia, downtown Olympia. Shout outs there. Shout outs to Danger Room. The guy was telling me, I was like, I've really wanted to get into Doom Patrol. I figured, what better way to start than Grant Morrison, because I trust his fucking writing. And the guy was like, yeah, but I don't really like the artwork. I was like, fuck. That doesn't bode well. But actually, I've got to respectfully disagree with my man at Danger Room. I kind of dig the artwork. It's very, I don't know, I like the close-ups of the faces. Like this dude, who the fucking pencil, I think his name's Richard Case. He gets these really fucking cool close-ups, frames, and I don't know, he just gets these kind of details that work out. I like it, but when you kind of do kind of more background characters, you see the simplistic aspects of his work, Richard Case's work, and it matches the story. It matches the tone of the stories so far, in my opinion. I just got through the first kind of run where the Doom Patrol deals with one of their notorious enemies, the Scissor Men, which this is just a glimpse of the weirdness of Doom Patrol. So is that the Scissor Men are basically these non-existent characters from a reality that doesn't exist, that is slowly taking over our reality that does exist, and they have these red and black suits on, and they have giant scissors for hands. They look menacing as fuck. Easy to destroy though, as Cliff Robot, or AKA Robot Man, showcases. He's just punching them with one punch, and they're disappearing, right? Because they don't exist. So they just the no blood. They just evaporate and leave their clothes, basically. I'm really fascinated by this character Rebus. Rebus got introduced in which I think is just Negative Man, I believe, but Rebus got introduced as this conjoining of Larry Traynor, and who's originally Negative Man, and this hospital nurse named Eleanor, or a doctor named Eleanor or something. I can't remember off the top of my head. But basically, this entity combines them two, and so they basically are sharing like this body, neither man nor woman, but they have features of both, so like tits and dicks, and they're just like this being that was like that's meant to showcase just creation or some shit. It's fucking crazy. But like they go on these wild, weird adventures, and like in between they're like contemplating like how they hate their powers and like suicide basically, and like all this like heavy shit. Like Grant Morrison introduces Crazy Jane, who is a like person who has multiple personality dissociation, and each of her personalities has different powers. And there's like something like at least like 60 of them or some shit like that. And so at any given time, like she can just bust out like a different personality that has a different power. Like one of them named Flit that can like teleport you away from things. Wild, man. Like there's like, let's see. So one of the things I like is like in concept, like the first run of characters, like the Chief, who always brings them together, Elastigirl, Negative Man, and Robot Man. The Chief, who's Dr. Niles Calder, Elastigirl's Rita Farr, Negative Man is Larry Traynor, and Cliff Steele's Robot Man, as introduced in 1963. They all die at the end of the first run in issue number 121. They die. And Doom Patrol just goes away. They did have a couple of extra members, like Beast Boy went on to become a member of the Teen Titans and shit like that. But when Grant Morrison, like during the run I'm reading, Grant Morrison introduced, like I said, Crazy Jane and Rebus, also Dorothy Spinner, Danny the Street, the Bandage People, Charlie the Doll, just like a lot of like random kind of weird characters. And like Negative Man is fucking weird, and like putting the Rebus into the mix like as the thing that inhabits Negative Man, or that Negative Man habits, is kind of, that whole thing's kind of confusing, but it's interesting. And like the first issue opens up with, Cliff Steele with Robot Man like fucking angry that he can't feel anything anymore. Like he's a fucking robot, a human trapped in a robot's body who remembers how to feel things, how things taste, but he can no longer feel and taste. And it's fucking heavy. But it ain't X-Men. All right, and that's one of those fucking things. Like Doom Patrol ain't X-Men, okay? And X-Men ain't Doom Patrol. So go out there, use your brains for good. Go pick up a copy of Doom Patrol. Pick it up. Pick up some comics. Always pick up comics. They stimulate your imagination. Don't let it go away. Shout outs to Danger Room downtown. Shout outs to anybody listening. Y'all are fucking awesome. So go out there and use your brains for good. Every day is a good day to ripen up that coconut. And what do we say? Keep your stick on the ice.